could go on, and I will go on just for a little bit longer before we get to the good part. If our brains are being so damaged, and they're clearly being damaged in early life, because we see many more kids on the spectrum, we're seeing many more people at the end of life with neurodegenerative disease in the middle of life, when supposedly we're in the prime of our lives. Actually, look at what's happening to IQ. This is based on a very, very good meta-analysis that was carried out, as you can see here, at a number of universities in Europe, looking at IQ measured in a rather mechanistic way since 1950. And since 1950, between 1950 and 2020, there's been a slowing of visual response times, which are the equivalent of a fall of 15 IQ points. We're actually getting more stupid. And just in case you think that's not a good way to measure IQ, if you measure it in different ways, such as the mental rotation of three-dimensional objects, fine color discrimination, or the ability to construct and deconstruct complex sentences, it doesn't really matter how you measure intelligence, we're getting more stupid. And this is reflected in the CDC decision in March of last year to push back developmental milestones. Our kids are not developing as rapidly as they should. It's idiocracy written out loud and large. It's happening in the real world. Now, this would be bad enough if that was all there was, but these things are increasing too. More signs of brain damage. We're seeing more schizophrenia, more borderline personality, hikikomori, gender dysphoria, trauma-induced brain damage, epilepsy and eating disorders. We're seeing more chronic pain, and more chronic pain in children and more chronic illness in children, female and male infertility, alopecia is coming here as well, which is a topic that people don't talk about very much. We don't think of alopecia as a disease of civilization, and yet wherever you look, you can see that the frequency of hair loss is increasing, and we're seeing this occurring in progressively younger groups. We're seeing more sarcopenia, muscle loss, osteopenia, bone frailty, and frailty syndromes, more lipedema, which women are very concerned about, more gout, which is a very, very old-fashioned disease. Used to be known as the disease of kings, but now it's thoroughly democratized. We see it everywhere. And increasing frequency of sepsis. The only things that are going down, IQ, which I mentioned before, life expectancy, and hand grip muscle strength. And you wonder, well, what is important about hand grip muscle strength? Everything. Because your handshake is not just one of those first impression kinds of things. You know, you give your hand to someone and they give you a handshake known famously as the wet noodle or the limp fish handshake. It doesn't really inspire confidence. Its importance is that it is a proxy. It is a proxy for overall muscular fitness and development. And that shows us that actually we are becoming less physically able generation to generation. So all sorts of things are going wrong here.